My name is Lidia, and I am the President of the European Federation of Hard of Hearing People. This is a great pleasure to participate and speak at the European Parliament debate on occasion of the World Hearing Day 2024. Today, we will be tackling the theme of this year's day, changing the mindsets. My tasks, given by the chair of the debate, is to discuss why we need to change mindsets. Let's look at it and let's tackle it. First of all, society attitudes towards hearing loss. What are they and what we can do about it? What we see is everyday ableism and negative and misleading attitudes which contributes to all around hearing loss. One of those are what we see here, which is that hearing aids can be ugly, but ours are visible. An advert from a service provider. And I have to say, I haven't seen this lately, so I think it's been taken down due to the backlash, of course. The second photo is a photo of an older person, clearly, with what looks like a hearing aid, but it's not a hearing aid. It's a personal amplifier, a very cheap replica. It does not do justice to the hearing aids we currently have. And those negative attitudes are holding back many people from achieving their full potential because they simply will not seek help because of the way how they are perceived. So as we have discussed now, the stigma is often linked to hearing aids. To age, only old people get hearing aids, right? But also it's linked to perceived intelligence, because we are seen as someone who may not have been in a very high level of literacy or the way we speak or many definitions. What we often get, especially how often I've been hearing that kind of question, it's when you mishear something, misunderstood or ask for repeat, quite immediate response is, are you deaf or what? And that kind of question puts you back. You don't even want to own up to it because it's a loaded question, negative question. Another question which is linked to ableism, perceiving what we can and cannot do just because we cannot hear very well is, but how can you do this? And is often both linked to employment, but also in education. If you are trying to have a chosen profession, which is something what is perceived by the society and educator, but you can't do. For example, you cannot be a doctor because you just can't hear very well people's hearts, for example. Well, let me tell you, actually, yes, we can. Those of us who choose to go down that path can use assistive devices, and the technology has gone very far indeed to allow us to listen to your hearts and look after your hearts safely. So what we see is a very strong correlation between the attitudes the society holds and the lack of confidence from our perspective in requesting support, because we are seen as someone unable to function the way everybody else perceives. And we are a diverse group. We are not all the same. You've met one hard of hearing person, you haven't met them all. So I'm sharing today how diverse we are in the age, in the different talents we represent, and the wealth of knowledge we bring. One photograph is a group photograph from London during our AGM in 2017, and the other photograph is very recent from last year, European Day of Persons with Disabilities in Brussels. Our diversity is our strength, but it also benefits the society. Well, you have seen some labels. What is another perception and different mindset to tackle? They are all different labels. We are using it sometimes because they are useful and helpful for us. But for others, for society, they might be sometimes confusing. We are deaf, hard of hearing, deafened, partially deaf, cochlear implant users, and or deafblind. All of those labels reflect different way of how we communicate, how we participate in the society, what kind of methods we are using, and what type of loss we have. For the deafblind people, what dual loss, vision and hearing. Yes, your head must be spinning right now. So how we communicate? We communicate using hearing aids and cochlear implants in terms of the medical devices. Then we are also using hearing loops and assistive listening system for those who can use those systems and can actually help themselves enhance their way of hearing. And this is why we need the public accessibility, such as hearing loops. We also use assistive devices and apps, such as live captioning on our smartphones and other devices we might need, as I mentioned earlier, for doctors. We are excellent lip readers. Many of us are actually even expert forensic lip readers. We are also using speech-to-text, which is the captioning, which today we are also using for our debate. And that is very much universal public access for anyone. How many people actually benefit from using speech-to-text? We also, for those groups which are deaf or from the cultural background of deafness and who need sign language as the first preferred sign language, also use sign language as well. And then we've got those visual clues. Yet, the policies and system put in place currently do not reflect our diversity. And that is a really great shame. So let's investigate further. Well, one of the things we need to look at is how the policymakers decide who is disabled, who is not, who can have a hearing aids, and who cannot, especially, or cochlear implants, especially in terms of national health reimbursements. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not walking audiograms. Audiogram is just a part of the story, part of assessment, but it should not be looked at as a main assessment. So I'm sharing today a wonderful sketch from our member in Poland, Maria Skoczyńska, who is documenting the life of deaf, hard of hearing, deafened person from perspective of hard of hearing person. And the wonderful sketch is all about something what my colleagues, my friends, anybody with hearing loss knows very well. Sitting in an audiometric cabin or audiogram booth and actually trying to decipher if the sounds I'm hearing coming from the headphones are the sounds truly coming from the headphones, or, as in my case and many others, my tinnitus is playing tricks on me, and I'm not so sure when I'm hearing tinnitus playing in my head or the actual sound from the played by audiologist. And for this reason, disability assessments often do not reflect real life of people with hearing loss. We need to improve those assessments to bring into real life. For another reason here to mention is that implants such as cochlear implants, hearing aids do not restore the hearing. Of course we don't. It's not going to come back in the same way we used to have. But hearing aids and cochlear implants do provide access to communication and reduce isolation and have many, many more benefits which we know about. So please don't dismiss the need for hearing aids or cochlear implants. Having said that, just because we have a hearing aids and cochlear implants, we are not fixed yet. No, it's not possible at this time. But it does not reduce the need for us to have visible accommodation at work, in employment, or in public space. So let's look at the employment. Here is just a simple stock picture of people working at this table. There could be people with hearing loss here. Yet, what we are seeing often, in employment especially, is that employers see our hearing devices, cochlear implants, they are seeing our hearing loss. They don't see us. Therefore, see me, not my hearing loss. This is what we need to change now on the perceptions from the society and employers. And I'm sharing here a quote from the report which was published in 2018 called European Federation of Hard of Hearing People Late Deafening Report. Potential employers cannot look beyond your hearing devices. You are labeled as deaf and cannot hear a thing. The potential employer does not look at your talents and what you can do. What a great shame to look in such a way without looking beyond just the device. Here comes Maria again to rescue, presenting how diverse hard of hearing people are and how capable of multitasking. But actually, the spy companies, they could do very well with us, our help. And for one of our reasons is also one of those reasons we are working directly with the European Commission Disability Platform, which is a platform when member state representatives, European Commission representatives, and civil society representatives meet, discuss, and work together on joint projects. One of those projects is Disability Employment Package, which is to improve labor market outcomes for persons with disabilities. And that report, all the guidelines, all the guidances are there available to everyone to check, for employers, for employees, and in general for everyone. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there is a big issue when many people with hearing loss will not disclose their hearing loss, their issues with hearing, on the application form for employment, simply because they are pretty sure that they will be overlooked for their position if they disclose their disability. So, once again, see me, not my hearing loss. But there is one more thing to tackle, policymakers. Right now, we have on our website a report launched in 2022 called Hearing Aid Reimbursement in Europe. And from that reimbursement, we have seen in some member states, the reimbursement levels of 25% to 100% for the cost of hearing aid. But we also have seen long waiting list and lack of choice in the reimbursement process. Often, those reimbursement policies do not match the real need. And that brings me back again to the audiogram. Because sometimes it's just arbitrary decision that at this level of hearing loss you can get reimbursement, but that does not reflect the reality of people and their needs of support. In many countries, however, children are supported very well, and this is important. However, adults, especially those of a working age, senior citizens, are not. And both groups need to get support and need to be taken seriously. We cannot afford people sitting at home, unable to work or working in the employment which is below their abilities, simply because we don't want to spend money. And it's important because the statistics say, and I'm sure you have heard it before, 466 million of people with disabling hearing loss worldwide. And that's the statistic from the World Health Organization. And one of the main impacts of hearing loss is on the individual's ability to communicate with others. So can we really afford money pinching? 178 billion euros are lost every year by all different surveys, statistics thrown across in different years, just in Europe. And the money are lost due to lack of investment in support. And why is that? Because many policymakers, especially those with 25% of reimbursement for hearing aids, are just using false economy. However, I'm having a last word for ourselves, for myself, and everyone who has a hearing loss, especially for the advocates in different countries. We have to start with ourselves. We have to start speaking out. We have to start pushing. And the words of, if you don't demand what you wish for yourself, you won't get it, are coming from a senior figure in the disability movement. Judith Heman died last year. She is widely regarded as the mother of the disability movement, hailing all the way from the United States, and a wheelchair user. And she was always saying the same thing. We have to stand up for ourselves because nobody else will stand up for us. We have to create allies and we have to work together. We have to start demanding what is needed because tomorrow somebody else will need it. Thank you for your attention.